Hello students, this is a class for BA Part 2nd and we will be reading a poem by P.B. Shelley, To a Skylark. This poem is one of the most remarkable lyrics of Shelley, and this poem was composed in 1820 when he went with his wife on a tour of 1 week to Leghorn, and they lived in a farmhouse of their common friend. This particular ode abounds in similes and metaphors, with which the poet actually compares a skylark, and the poem becomes very, you can say, symbolic and very fascinating, appealing. And this is representative of Shelley's thoughts and style, the way the poet thinks and the way the poet presents his ideas, his philosophy. This is one of the specimen style of P.B. Shelley. The spiritual character of the skylark is the keynote of the poem, and it expresses profoundly the poet's philosophy. So let us do the poem. The poem begins in a very beautiful manner. The poet addresses. This poem is actually an ode, and ode is a poetical form in which generally the subject matter or the title which expresses the subject matter, uh, the poem addresses directly to the subject. And here the subject is skylark. The poet directly addresses to the skylark, and generally the presentation of ideas is very, you can say, elevated, grand, and it is very musical. So ode is actually a poem often in the form of an address to the subject, and it highly exaggerates, or you can say highly elevates through the subject matter, through the title. So let us see the poem. Hail to thee. Hail means welcome. Just as a king is welcomed, generally it is a hail to the king. In that manner, hail to thee. Thee means you. You are welcome. You are most welcome. Cordial welcome is given to the bird, blithe spirit. But see, the poet does not call it a spirit, he calls it a blithe spirit. Blithe means happy, blithe means spiritually happy. So the poet says, you are, and to the poet, the bird appears to be more of a spirit rather than a bird. He says, bird thou never wert. Wert means were. You were never a bird. Why he feels that skylark is not a bird? Because bird thou never wert, that from heaven or near it. We can say heaven means the sky here. So that means the bird from heaven means from the sky or near it. Pourest. Pour is the main verb. Pour means udelna. So you pour thy full heart. You pour your full heart in profuse strains. Strains means lyrics. Strains means songs. And songs कैसे हैं? Profuse. Profuse means in abundance. The bird is pouring down lyrics in abundance. And what kind of lyrics are there? What kind of songs are presented by the bird or this spirit? Why he calls the bird a spirit? Because he feels that the bird is flying very high, almost near the heaven, and we know in heaven only spirits live, only the blithe spirits live, only the happy, happily bestowed, happily endowed spirits live. So he says, you pour your full heart in profuse strains, और strains कैसे हैं, lyrics कैसे हैं, of unpremeditated art. So this is very remarkable phrase, unpremeditated. Unpremeditated means unpremeditated means it is an art which is not meditated. Premeditated means something which you meditate beforehand. When you say unpremeditated means it is not pre-thought. पहले से कुछ भी नहीं सोचा है. Spontaneous. Unpremeditated means spontaneous, natural. सहज रूप से जैसा उसके मन में आता है, जैसा उसके हार्ट में है, वैसा the bird is pouring in the form of singing. So you can see this blithe spirit is expressing without any premeditation. Higher, still, and higher. The bird is soaring higher. It is flying very high. So higher, still, and higher. Look at the flight. Look at the way the poet has presented the flight of the bird. Higher, still, and higher from the earth. Thou springest. You spring means you go up like a cloud of fire. Like है तो simile, a literary term which is used to compare two things. So the bird is compared, the flight of the bird is compared with the cloud of fire. Just as the cloud of fire keeps soaring higher and higher, in that manner the bird is also flying higher and higher in the sky. The blue deep. What is blue deep? The sky. Sky which is of blue color and it is very deep. The wingest. Wing को verb की तरह से यूज किया है. Wing is actually a noun but it is used as a verb by the poet. The wingest. And singing still dost soar. Singing still do you soar. Dost is do. Dost का मतलब do. ओल्ड इंग्लिश वर्ब की तरह से लिखा है. तो सिंगिंग स्टिल डॉस soar. When you are singing, you keep soaring, you keep flying, and soaring means when you are flying in the sky, ever singest. You continuously keep singing. So this is actually parallelism, singing and soaring going together. And now we move forward. In the golden lightning of the sunken sun, when the sun is sunken, that is evening time, in the golden lightning of the sunken sun, over which clouds are brightening, when the clouds become bright because of the sinking sun, thou dost float and run. You keep floating means, float means flying effortlessly. So the bird keeps floating, bird keeps running. So thou float and run. How does it float? Like an unbodied joy, as if it were something unbodied. Means there is no body, but joy is there. तो joy personified. Unbodied joy means एक ऐसी खुशी जो बिना शरीर के है. Unbodied. Bodied हो गया तो something you can say imprisoned. हमने पहले देखा था कि जो कुछ बॉडीड है वो प्रिजन, एक प्रिजन में है, एक जेल में जैसे हो जीवन, वैसा. अनबॉडीड मीन्स फ्री. like an unbodied joy means like free, independent kind of joy, जिस पर किसी तरह की कोई बॉडी नहीं है, किसी तरह का कोई बंधन नहीं है, ऐसी खुशी, कोई लिमिट नहीं है, कोई बिल्कुल इन्फिनिट काइंड ऑफ जॉय, whose race is just begun, as if you have just begun the race. And beginning क्यों? Because whenever we start anything we are very fresh. So he wants to compare the song of the skylark, the flight of the skylark, as if it is very free. It is against the brightening clouds, it is against the sinking sun, and in that golden lightning, in that beautiful environment, the song, the bird is singing. And the poet makes a comparison with the word like. So one more simile, unbodied joy whose race is just begun. अभी अभी जिसकी यात्रा शुरू हुई है, ऐसी unbodied, free, independent, infinite kind of joy, ऐसी bird को वो in this manner he highly appreciates, admires, and he seems to be fascinated by this bird. The pale purple eve melts around thy flight. Evening, even is evening, pale purple evening melts around your flight. You are flying, and this purple evening is melting around your flight, and then it becomes a little dark. So he says, like a star of heaven in the broad daylight, thou art unseen. Just as the star of heaven, the stars of heaven are not visible in the broad daylight, in that manner, in the purple evening light, the bird becomes unseen. वो दिखाई देना बंद हो जाता है in the sky. Just as the stars are not visible in the daylight, the bird also becomes invisible in the broad daylight. In the evening, thou art unseen, but yet I hear your shrill delight. Although the bird is not visible in the sky, but the voice, the shrill delight, the unbodied joy, जो खुशी उसमें से निकल रही है, that the poet says I can still hear. मैं अभी भी सुन सकता हूँ. और कैसे सुन सकता है उसकी वो बात करता है इन ए ब्यूटिफुल कंपैरिजन. Keen as are the arrows. Keen means sharp. Just as the arrows are sharp. और arrows कौन से? ये रियल तीर नहीं है. Arrows of that silver sphere. सिल्वर स्फीयर किसका होता है? सिल्वर गोल चमकदार क्या होता है? चांद. तो keen as are the arrows of that moon whose intense lamp is moon, whose intense lamp narrows in the white dawn clear. लेकिन जब dawn आता है मतलब morning. Dawn means peep of the day, morning time, when the sun is about to come, that is dawn. In the white dawn, जब पूरा आसमान सफ़ेद हो गया तब the intense lamp, that is to say the moon, narrows. वो अपनी लाइट कमज़ोर हो जाती है बिकॉज ऑफ द डे. कब तक? until we hardly see. ठीक वैसे ही जैसे हम चांद को देखते देखते एकदम से it becomes invisible in the white dawn until we hardly see मतलब when we are not able to see the moon, we feel. देखते देखते वो गायब होता है, it disappears. We see and we suddenly feel that it is there. We feel only that it is there. हमको लगता है कि ये यहाँ था और यहाँ होना चाहिए, लेकिन वो एकदम से रोशनी के कारण धीरे धीरे मेल्ट हो जाता है. तो जस्ट एज द मून मेल्ट्स in the atmosphere in the early morning, in the same manner the skylark has become invisible in the purple evening. What a beautiful presentation of the poet about the flight of the bird. All the earth and air with your voice is loud. You can imagine that the poet was living in the farmhouse of his friend in Leghorn, and there you can imagine it was written in 1700 and something. So it was a very peaceful era. There were no electronic gadgets, there were no, you can say, motorbikes, even cycles were not there. So ऐसे atmosphere में when uh, it's all pure nature around you, वो सब कुछ वो हो, ऐसे में how attractive, how fascinating the nature must look to the poet. All the earth and air with your voice is loud. तुम्हारी आवाज के कारण the environment is filled. As और as आ गया तो simile. Once again the poet is trying to compare all the earth and air with thy voice is loud as when night is bare. जब रात बिल्कुल काली बेयर है. फ्रॉम वन लोनली क्लाउड द मून रेन्स आउट हर बूम बीम्स, और सिर्फ एक क्लाउड और उसके पीछे से द मून रेन्स आउट हर बीम्स, चांदनी बह रही है, रेन्स आउट, द मून रेन्स आउट हर बीम्स फ्रॉम द वन लोनली क्लाउड, तब heaven is overflowed. Just as then, the sky is overflowed with the beams of the moon. Moonlight overflows there in that manner. जिस तरह से रात में चांद की किरणें पूरे एनवायरनमेंट को ओवरफ्लो कर देती है, भर देती है, वैसे ही, और चांद कहाँ है? चांद इज बिहाइंड द क्लाउड, द मून is behind the cloud. So just as moon is invisible because it is behind a cloud, but still the moonlight is spread all around the sky, पूरे आसमान में छाई हुई है चांदनी, वैसे ही although the bird is invisible, but the sound, the melody, the music that it is pouring, that fills the environment, वो पूरे environment को fill कर देता है. What art thou? We know not. The poet wants to know the nature of this bird. जानना चाहता है. The poet is trying to go into the depth of the nature of the bird. What thou art? Art means are. तुम क्या हो? We know not. We do not know. What is most like you? What is most like you? He wants to make a comparison to understand the nature of the bird. What is most like thee? तुम्हारे जैसा. What is most similar to you? The poet raises a question. From rainbow clouds there flows not drops so bright to see. Even from and now the comparison begins. Rainbow cloud से भी ऐसी bright drops does not flow, do not flow to see, as from thy presence showers a rain of melody. Just as because of your presence there is a rain of melody. Melody means sweet music. The music that you are pouring down, it's a rain of melody, और ये rain of melody is compared with the rainbow clouds drops. So rainbow, even the rainbow is inferior to the rain of melody poured down by the bird. अगला कंपैरिजन, व्हाट इज मोस्ट लाइक दी, इसका एक और कंपैरिजन करता है. सबसे सिमिलर क्या है? तो वो कहता है लाइक ए पोएट. ही कंपेयर्स द बर्ड की मे बी यू आर लाइक ए पोएट. और पोएट कैसा? हिडन इन द लाइट ऑफ थॉट. द पोएट इज हिडन फ्रॉम द वर्ल्ड, लेकिन वो हिडन कहाँ है? इन द लाइट ऑफ थॉट्स, द ब्यूटिफुल आइडियाज दैट, the idealistic ideas that the poet lives in the light of which. So a poet hidden in the light of thought, singing hymns, singing songs unbidden. Just as just as a poet you sing melodious songs unbidden. Bid means ask. When you tell someone to sing, you bid someone to sing. लेकिन when you do not bid, when you do not ask, बिना कहे जब कोई सुनाता है, अनबिडन जो होता है मतलब आज्ञा से नहीं कि भैया सुनाओ, ऐसे नहीं, बिना आज्ञा के, मतलब अनबिडन सेंस देता है किसका? कि आप अपनी मर्जी से सुना रहे हो, विद योर ओन स्वीट विल यू सिंग. तो दैट इज एक्चुअली टू से यू लव म्यूजिक एंड देयरफॉर यू प्रेजेंट म्यूजिक अनबिडन. तो सिंगिंग हिम्स अनबिडन, कब तक? टिल द वर्ल्ड इज रॉट टू सिंपैथी विद होप्स एंड फियर्स इट हीडेड नॉट. ऐसा पोएट जो अनबिडन सिंग करता है हिम्स, टिल द वर्ल्ड इज ब्रॉट टू सिंपैथी. रॉट टू सिंपैथी मीन्स द वर्ल्ड कम्स टू सिंपैथाइज विद द होप्स एंड द फियर्स. पोएट प्रेजेंट करता है दो चीज़ें, एक व्हाट ही फियर्स, कि क्या इस दुनिया के लिए ठीक नहीं है, व्हाट इज रॉन्ग विद द वर्ल्ड, वो प्रेजेंट करता है. एंड सेकेंड थिंग व्हाट ही होप्स, कि क्या क्या चीज़ें इस दुनिया को बेटर बना सकती है, क्या क्या चीज़ें इस दुनिया में उम्मीद लाती हैं. तो दो तरह की चीज़ें पोएट जनरली पोएट्स प्रेजेंट करते हैं. द फियर्स, that this world is actually decaying on certain points, तो वो fears कि ऐसा न हो, and the hopes that he generates, अब तक दुनिया ने जिसको हीड नहीं किया था, हीड नहीं किया मतलब पे अटेंशन, हीड मीन्स टू पे अटेंशन, तो द वर्ल्ड हैज नॉट पेड अटेंशन टू द फियर्स एंड वर्ल्ड हैज नॉट पेड अटेंशन टू द हॉप्स that the poet actually presents in his poetry, and the world comes to sympathize, comes to understand and agree with the poet, वो जो स्थिति है वैसा। सो पोएट के जैसे हो क्या, जो इतनी खूबसूरती से पहले विचार करता है, मेडिटेट करता है, उसके बाद उन पर लिखता है, फिर दुनिया पढ़ती है और उसके बाद दुनिया उसको समझती है, ऐसा। सो लेट अस डू the poem up to this part, and rest of the poem we will do in the next lecture. Thank you very much.